Alright, this is Tabby and the Chub, Chapter 3. You're right, Bill Ward stared at Delilah. Another contraction rippled through the cat. We better see if she'll get into her box. Why isn't she already there? Asked James. Sometimes they like to pace, said Bill, particularly when it's their first time, like Delilah here. But looking at her, I'd say she hasn't got long to go now. He took the lid off the box and gently encouraged Delilah through the door. Come on then, pet, it's time you came in here. The cat walked slowly into her box. Should I call Animal Ark? Asked Mandy. The phone's in the kitchen, said Bill, nodding. Mandy dialed the number and spoke to Jean, who promised to send Dr. Adam along right away. Mandy returned to the living room. Dad will be here soon, she said. Is there anything we can do? James asked anxiously as Delilah groaned rather alarmingly. She's doing just fine, Bill said calmly. The kittens will be some time yet. There's a box of towels ready in the kitchen. You could get those. And while you're in there, stick the kettle on and I'll make a solid cup of tea. James hurried off, carefully shutting the kitchen door after him so Tara couldn't come through and bother Delilah. Have you raised many litters of kittens? Mandy asked Bill. He nodded. When I was a kid. Delilah's my first for a while, though, and also my first pedigree. Still having kittens doesn't change as far as I can tell. He looked at Delilah. I think she'll be another half hour yet. He smiled at them. Are you and James going to stay and watch? I'd love to, said Mandy. Can I call my mom, please? Asked James, coming through with the towels. I should tell her where I am if we're going to be here a while. Bill nodded, and James hurried back through the kitchen. They were sitting around Delilah's box when Dr. Adam arrived. So, how's the mother-to-be? He asked, coming in and looking into the box. He gently examined Delilah. Ah, good. It looks like all is going according to plan. The first kitten's almost here. Head first presentation, excellent. Delilah sat up. Mandy could see the head emerging. She watched the tiny white kitten eased out. Its eyes were tightly shut. Its coat was damp. Delilah started to lick roughly at its face. The kitten opened its mouth and took its first breath. Oh, said Mandy, isn't it wonderful? She had seen many animals being born, and even helped in some cases. But the wonder of it never ceased for her. She looked at her father, her eyes shining. Nothing ever beats seeing a healthy animal born, he said softly. Mandy looked at Delilah, cleaning her firstborn. It was at times like this that Mandy knew that there was nothing in the world that she wanted more than to be a vet. James peered rather cautiously into the box, but when he saw the tiny kitten with Delilah, he smiled too. How many more will there be? Mandy asked her father. Persians don't normally have very large litters, probably only 3 or 4, Dr. Adam replied. They waited. Jane Ward arrived home from work and came to join them. After a bit, Delilah started to push again. Out came a second kitten, and then a third, and then a fourth, all white, all coming into the world easily and with no complications. After the 4th kitten had been licked clean, Delilah started to clean herself and the box. Well, that looks like it might be it, said Dr. Adam, and she didn't need us at all. The kittens cuddled into Delilah as she settled back and started to let them feed. They lay in a row, their little tails sticking straight out behind their heads, buried in their mother's soft fur. Mandy looked at Delilah and her 4 healthy kittens. She sighed happily. Well, we better get home, said Dr. Adam, starting to stand up. Do you want a lift, James? We can throw the bikes in the back. Yes, please, James and Dr. Adam started to help clear away the empty mugs. I'll go and get Blossom's feeding bowl, said Mandy, seizing the chance to take another quick look at the tabby cat. It will be easier to wash it out tonight. She slipped out the back door. It was cool outside and almost dark. The light from the kitchen lit up in the path to the shed. She gently opened the door and peered in the shadows. It was difficult to see. She opened the door wider to let in more light. Yes, there was Blossom, lying in the old tin bath. Mandy stiffened. Something dark and small was lying beside her. She stared. What was it? She picked her way past the plant pots and garden tools. Her foot clanged against a metal bucket, and she stumbled over a bag of fertilizer. But the tabby cat hardly even looked up. Mandy reached the tub. Her eyes widened. Lying beside Blossom was a tiny, damp kitten. The sudden grin of delight on Mandy's face faded as quickly as it had come. Why wasn't Blossom looking after her kitten? She wasn't licking it or nursing it. Mandy swallowed hard, worry clutching her stomach. It wasn't dead, was it? Her heart thudded. To her utter relief, she saw the kitten move slightly. It was alive. The breath escaped from Mandy in a rush. She looked at Blossom and frowned. She was lying very still, not like Delilah. Delilah had been restless, moving around, changing position, seeing to the kittens. Blossom rested her head on the newspaper. Mandy suddenly had the feeling that something was wrong. Badly wrong. Blossom needed help. Dr. Adam was talking to the wards in the kitchen when Mandy flung open the door. She stopped in the doorway, her blue eyes wide in her pale face. "Quick!" she gasped. Everyone looked up in surprise. "What's the matter?" Dr. Adam said, looking at her with concern. "It's Blossom," Mandy urged. "She's having her kittens, but I think something's the matter." Mandy turned and raced back to the shed. The others hurried after her. Bill Ward grabbed a flashlight from a shelf by the back door. Its powerful beam of light cut through the gloom. Blossom still lay motionless. Dr. Adam took one look and then quickly started to clear a path through the boxes and pots. "Mandy, get my bag, please. It's in the kitchen." Mandy hurried into the house. Bill dug out a lamp from the shed. He hung it on a hook so Dr. Adam could see clearly. James and Jane helped to clear a path from through the gardening equipment. "What's the matter with her?" asked Mandy as her dad leaned over and examined Blossom. "Uterine inertia," said Dr. Adam grimly, straightening up. James looked at Mandy for a clue as to what uterine inertia was, but Mandy didn't know either. Rummaging through his bag, Dr. Adam explained. "It means that the mother cat has stopped having contractions, even though there are more kittens to come out. I think there must be another kitten blocking the way. I can give her injections to get the contractions going again, but before that, I need to find out if there's a blockage and what's causing it." "Should we move her inside?" asked Jane, looking worried. Dr. Adam shook his head. "It might upset her. But if you can find any more light, that would be good. I'll need some of those towels you had ready for Delilah, and a hot water bottle and a small cardboard box. I think kitten number 1 looks like it's going to need some help." Jane hurried off to the house. Mandy and James watched Blossom anxiously, counting the minutes that Jane was away. Finally, she returned, her hands full. Dr. Adam picked up the kitten. "Still alive," he murmured, turning to Jane. "Can I have a towel?" She handed him one, and Dr. Adam rubbed it firmly over the kitten. He looked at Mandy. "Mandy, can you take over with this? I need to start on Blossom." "Sure," said Mandy eagerly. She reached out, and her dad placed the tiny kitten gently in her hands. "Rub it with the towel," he told her. "When it's dry, put it in the cardboard box. James, can you get the new box ready? It needs a layer of newspaper and then the hot water bottle wrapped in a towel. We'll put the kittens in there." Mandy and James got busy with their tasks as Dr. Adam started to examine Blossom. The damp kitten in the palm of Mandy's hand was tiny. She rubbed it firmly. "Come on," she breathed, holding it close to her face. "You're going to be all right." "I was right," Dr. Adam said at last. "There is a kitten stuck. It's in the worst position, head turned around." "Can you move it?" asked Mandy, looking up anxiously from rubbing the kitten. Dr. Adam's face was serious. "I'll try. It's really our only hope. Blossom's so weak and undernourished, I doubt she could survive an operation." "What about the kitten inside?" James asked, putting the cardboard box next to Mandy. "Will it be okay?" "It depends on how long it's been there," said Dr. Adam. "There's a limit to the length of time a kitten can survive like that. We might well be too late." Mandy's heart sank. She placed the first tiny kitten in the box and covered it up. It was dry now, and she knew it needed the heat from the hot water bottle. She watched anxiously as her dad tried to help Blossom, his face set with concentration. Time dragged by. Mandy felt close to tears. Poor, poor little Blossom. Dr. Adam was a brilliant vet, one of the best. But Mandy knew the harsh realities of a vet's life. Sometimes being brilliant wasn't enough. "I can't get it around," Dr. Adam muttered. Fingers of despair curled around Mandy's heart. Bill Ward looked on, a deeply worried look on his normally cheerful face. Dr. Adam shook his head. "No, it's not coming." "Yes!" he suddenly exclaimed. "It's there." He straightened up. "It's turned." "Oh, Dad," gasped Mandy. "Well done." Dr. Adam reached for a syringe in his bag and injected Blossom. Now the contractions should start again. Mandy leaned forward. "Is the kitten still alive?" Dr. Adam shrugged. "We'll just have to wait and see." The injection started to work its magic. Gradually, contractions started to ripple through Blossom's sides. Mandy crossed her fingers. The second kitten started to appear. It slithered out head first onto the paper. Everyone held their breath as Blossom started to nose it and lick it. She cleaned its face in the nostril, but the kitten lay still. "Too late," muttered Bill, shaking his head. Mandy's mouth went dry. She looked at her father. He was leaning forward with a speculative look in the eyes, peering at the ginger kitten. Hope flickered through her. Dad? Mandy faltered. Had he seen something? And then she saw it too. The kitten moved. Everyone gasped. It's alive! Mandy cried. Blossom started to clean the kitten vigorously. James pushed a relieved hand through his tousled hair. Bill put his arm around Jane's shoulders and hugged her. Not too late after all, said Dr. Adam, smiling at Mandy. Mandy's legs suddenly felt wobbly. The kitten had survived. Both mother and baby had been saved. She watched in delight as Blossom gave birth to one more kitten and immediately began licking it. I think that's all of them, said Dr. Adam, watching Blossom finish cleaning the kitten and then herself. The two little kittens beside her pushed through her fur toward nourishment. Dr. Adam picked them up one by one and looked at them. It's almost always easiest to tell what they are when they are newborn, he explained to the watchers. The ginger one's obviously a boy. The tabby's a girl. Mandy picked up the cardboard box. What about this one? Dr. Adam took the tabby and white kitten out of the cardboard box and examined her quickly. Another girl, he said with a smile, placing her carefully next to the rest. Blossom settled back happily to let her three babies feed. As everyone left the shed, Mandy lingered for one moment more to look at the sleeping kittens. A warm glow of happiness spread through her. 2 mothers, 7 kittens. What an evening.